Hey everyone, Teo here. In this video, I will compare the pen performance of the Xiaomi Focus Pen on the Xiaomi Pad 7 Pro, the Samsung S Pen on the Samsung Tab S9 Ultra, and the Apple Pencil Pro on the M4 iPad Pro. These three pens support palm rejection, pressure sensitivity, and tilt sensitivity. However, tilt sensitivity for the Xiaomi Focus Pen does not work consistently, which is the main thing I want to show you in this video. So the Xiaomi Focus Pen comes with two side buttons, and these are not customizable with third-party note-taking and drawing apps. The Samsung S Pen has one side button, and this is customizable. And the Apple Pencil Pro does not have any buttons, but there is the squeeze shortcut and the double tap shortcut, and there is barrel roll. And this is for Apple Pencil Pro. For Apple Pencil 2, you don't get the barrel roll. Let's look at the initial activation force and diagonal line wobble. So now I'm drawing with minimal pressure. I can draw thin lines quite easily. It seems like there is some wobble, but let's use a straight edge just to remove any human error. Initial activation force is low, so I can draw thin lines easily. Now with my hand-drawn lines, they are not as straight, but with these two lines that were drawn with the straight edge, you can see they are very straight. Let's look at the lines on the iPad. This is quite straight, but there is some pressure variance because it's difficult for me to maintain consistent pressure. And now let's draw with the help of a straight edge. And you can see this is almost perfectly straight. Now in an earlier version of this video, which I have already taken down to replace with this current video that you are watching, I drew some wobbly diagonal lines, and I found out why. If I have the pen tip away from the edge of this notebook that I am using, the lines can be perfectly straight. But if I have the pen tip go into the corner, if the pen tip touches the paper, the line is wobbly, and I don't understand why. This happens when I use a plastic ruler as well. And this does not happen when I draw horizontal or vertical lines. And now we have the Xiaomi. Notice Infinite Painter actually performs quite well here. Now I can see diagonal line wobble. Let's try the straight edge again. Yeah, so maybe the line wobble is due to my free hand, but for these two lines, they look pretty straight. Initial activation force for all three pens is low, and they can draw thin lines very easily. Next, let's test tilt sensitivity. This is the Samsung tablet, and the app is Infinite Painter, and I am using the dry inker brush. So this is minimum pressure, heavy pressure, tilt, minimal pressure, heavy pressure, tilt, minimal pressure, heavy pressure, tilt, back to heavy pressure, minimal pressure. So the lines are able to come out exactly the way I expect. This is Infinite Painter on the iPad. So we have thin lines, pressure lines, and we have tilt. So thin, pressure, tilt, back to pressure, and back to thin. And now we have the Xiaomi. So thin lines, pressure lines, and tilt, which doesn't work. So let's try again. Thin, pressure, and tilt. So tilt doesn't work that well with the Xiaomi Focus Pen with the Xiaomi Pad 7 Pro. This app is Sketchbook, and this is on the Xiaomi tablet. So if I press down hard, I can get the pressure lines. And if I tilt the pen slightly, you can get the broad strokes. But it's not easy to control the tilt. So tilt performance also will vary depending on the app you use, but even for Sketchbook, which actually supports tilt really well, it is quite difficult to maintain the consistent width with the pen tilt. And this is Sketchbook on the iPad. Thin lines, pressure lines, and tilt. And if I tilt down really low, you can get the very broad strokes. So tilt works really well here. And this is the same performance you can expect on the Samsung tablet with the Samsung S Pen as well. The point I want to make with this comparison review is tilt doesn't work consistently with the Xiaomi Focus Pen. If you are just using the tablets and the pens for writing, whether tilt works or not, it doesn't really matter, because when it comes to writing, the writing performance is fantastic with all the 3 pens. And this is with the, and this is with the Xiaomi Focus Pen.